So I've been playing a little bit of Minecraft lately. Actually, the guys on the Scrolls Discord set up a server, and we've about reached the point in the server where I wanted to build a sorting system. So I went back down to a long lost part of my hard drive and found this design, which I made 5 or so years ago and never really showed off to anyone. But I think it's one of the better designs on the market for an early game storage system. It's not the fastest and it's not silent, but what it does have going for it is it's basically tiny. Like, this is one of the smallest sorting systems I think you could ever find. And it's very cheap and it's very easy to set up. So it's the perfect sorting system for in the early game when you don't have too many items yet, you don't need a huge haul for storing all your stuff. Before I get into how this thing works, just to show you exactly how cheap it is, everything you need right now is on my hotbar. The principle that it works on is pretty simple. We have hoppers pointing into chests, and the chests you're going to want to fill up every single slot with one of the item that you want to sort. You can put different items in different chests. However you want to configure it, doesn't matter. And then these hoppers are pointing into the chests, so each hopper is going to try to put its item in the chest, and if the chest doesn't have the item that it wants, or it doesn't have a slot for it, then it won't. And then the hopper below is going to pull the item out of the hopper, and then try to put its item into the next chest, and so on and so on. That's the basic principle. To make this all work, we need to give each hopper enough time to pass its item into the chest. So for this, we actually need to lock the hopper below it. And then once it's had enough time to try, we unlock the hopper, we lock the next hopper, and the next chest gets a shot at sucking out the item. So you can already see where this is going. We need some way to power the hoppers in an alternating fashion. So that's what this is one of the simplest ways I found to do it. It's completely tileable, so we can build this up as high as we want and as long as we want as well. You can put as many of these little designs in a row as you can fit in your base or whatever. So right now this torch is powering this hopper, and then later on, when these lines become powered, the torches are going to go off and the repeaters are going to go on, and the repeater is going to power this block, which is going to power this hopper, and that's how we alternate power in the hoppers. Now, we also need a way to get the items back up again. So the hoppers are going to pull the items down, then right at the end we're going to have one final hopper in the hopper chain, and that's going to put our item into a dropper here. So a row of droppers pointing upwards, with the final one pointing sideways into this top hopper again. So these repeaters, as well as powering and unpowering the hoppers, are also going to power and unpower the droppers, which is going to push the items back up and into the top hopper again. So the items kind of do a zigzag. They go in here, up this dropper chain, down the hoppers and into the chests, and up the droppers again, and then down the hoppers. And that's the basic idea. And as I said, it's completely tileable, so you can build it up as high as you want, and to the side as high as far as you want. Now we have this kind of control gizmo. The first thing we have is a clock. So these four blocks here make a clock. When this torch becomes unpowered, the system will turn on. This block will become unpowered, the torch will turn on. That will power this block. Power goes through into this block, through the repeater, down onto the wire, and then back through this repeater into this block again, which will unpower the torch. And then this repeater will turn off, this dust turns off, this repeater turns off, and then the torch turns back on again. So that's our main clock, which is going to power and unpower these torches and repeaters at the correct speed so that items have the chance to go through the hoppers. Worth noting, it's very important that you configure the timings on these repeaters correctly, so the top one has it's all the way to the left end, or yeah, right at the front, and the bottom repeater is 3 ticks back all the way at the back, and that will give you the correct timing. Then from there we have just a staircase of redstone. It's very important you use transparent blocks here, otherwise the wire will be cut. And this dust will just power each of these rows, and a repeater here to refresh the redstone signal to go all the way down the line. So then we have our input chest here, and we just have a chain of hoppers, hopper pointing this way, and this way, and into the bottom dropper there. And that's going to suck the items out. I like to use a trap chest here, because as you put items in, it locks the hopper below, and that gives you time to pull out your items if you don't need them. So now there's one final part here which we need to go over, and that is the fact that we only want this clock to be running while there is items in the system. So the way we check that is with a comparator here pointing to the bottom dropper, as this is where items tend to pile up. So when there's items in the system, they'll get pulled into this dropper, and this comparator will become powered, and then the signal is repeated into this block, and then dust in a second repeater, and that goes into this block and turns off this torch and allows the clock to run. Now, there's one small issue with this, which is that the very last few items, once this dropper is empty, there'll still be items going through the chain for a few more seconds. So we need a way to keep the clock running while the last few items go through the system. And for that we have this nifty little pulse extender. So as well as going into the repeater here and powering this block directly, we also have redstone coming down here and into this pulse extender powered by hoppers. So the way this thing works is right now we have 38 items. That's the number for a system of this size. If you have more chests, you'll need to add more items and find the sweet spot. So we have 38 items in here and none in here. The two hoppers point into each other. And then this hopper is locked, so it's not going to be moving its items. Now, when there are items in this hopper, it's going to power this line and turn on this block, turn off this torch. So this hopper will become locked, this hopper becomes unlocked, the items begin to move into this hopper, and that in turn powers this comparator, torch, and that will also power this block and allow the clock to run. Now as when we run out of items in this dropper and the last few items are going through the system, then this power will turn off, and that will flip this torch back on and allow items to travel back from this hopper into this hopper. Now, it's going to take some time for the hopper to completely empty, and during that time this comparator will still be powered, the system will still be running. Then as soon as the 38 items have left and return back here, this will unpower and the system will turn off again. So that's how we get the last few items through the system. Okay, so that's how the system works. A very simple system, very small, very cheap. Let's just see it in action. One last thing before I put items in here, I almost forgot. It's very important you keep the last chest or the last couple of chests empty, just so that this way you have somewhere for all the items which you don't have set up in your sorting system yet. So if I would put something I don't have, say raw chicken in here, it would go through all of these chests and just end up here in our miscellaneous chest. So let's just go ahead and put these in and let the system run, and you can see it in action. I'll give a quick fly around in case you want to build this yourself. There is going to be a second part to this video where I will build this in Survival Minecraft on the Nog's Nest Scrolls server. So if you want to see step by step how to build it, then look out for the second one. And it should be linked somewhere in this video as well. In the description, definitely. In the in card, probably. In a little bubble on the screen right now if I'm a genius and I can figure it out, but probably not. And you can see here, our diamonds are slowly filtering in. This is the speed that items go through. A bit faster than 1 item per second. So not the fastest, but still pretty good. And now you can hear this dropper is empty, the clicking starts again. And this is where our little pulse extender comes in. This repeater is off, but this torch still powers the clock. And now finally the torch goes off, and we should have 64 extra diamonds in this chest. So there you go. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you can figure out how to put this in your world if you so desire. You probably do because you found this video. That's going to be it for me. Take it easy, guys. Have a good day. Aha! You thought I was going to end it there without telling you first to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe? You fool.